Hello everyone, ObiVanDamme here, and welcome back to Schedule 1 and the Crystal Bungalow Mark II. So, one thing that annoyed me the most about the first iteration of the bungalow was that one of our chemists didn't have 4 stations assigned, it only had 3, the 3 mixing stations, and both of our handlers each had 1 route left to be assigned. So in this updated version of the bungalow, we are going to fix that by placing an additional mixing station in here in the brewing room. The rest of the setup looks exactly the same as in the previous guide. You can find a link to that in the description or in an info card in the top right of that video. The only thing that changed is the additional route, the additional mixing station, and the recipe, of course, because we can now use 4 mixing stations. I will show you the recipe that I'm using in a second, but before we do that, I will show you exactly, step by step, how to set up the employees. We'll start with Walter over here. The bed is already assigned, so we need to assign stations. We click on that, and then head over to the mixing room. No, not the mixing room, the brewing room. And then we hold Shift, and you click each of the stations you want to assign. So that's 2 chemistry stations and 2 labs. Hit Enter, and then we do exactly the same thing with Justin. 2 chemistry stations, 2 lab ovens. Enter. And the last one is Christopher Lee. Assign stations to him, and this guy is going to work on all of our mixing stations. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Like this. And now we go to the handlers. We have Jonathan here, and we are going to need 5 routes for him, which is the maximum you can have. We'll assign a station to him. This is also the guy is doing our packing. And then his stations will just be the back large storage rack of 1 mixing station to the front storage rack of the same mixing station. And we do that for all 4 of our mixing stations. Like that. I already set up some shelves. There's stuff in it which is currently not needed for this exact setup, but that's fine. We'll use that, and the last route will then go back off this shelf to the front shelf, which is for the packaging station. So now he has 4 stations assigned. And then finally, Helen also needs 5 stations. And what she's doing for the exact same stations, she's doing the front rack into the mixing station itself. So front rack, mixing station, front rack, mixing station. Keep the order the same. It's just something that I want to have is front rack, mixing station. And then the last one is the front rack with the jars to the packaging station. And that's all of the setup done. So what we now need is the ingredients. You can see the recipe here on screen and also the selling price, which went up to $200 now, which is great. So what we need to do is order 160 bananas and 160 cube from one of the gas marts. And then from the second one, we'll order 160 horse semen and 160 mega beans also to the bungalow. This is the maximum amount you can order. You can see it takes 6 hours to that. All that is left to do really is in here, taking all of these ingredients we need and filling up the chemistry stations. So that's phosphorus on these 2 and phosphorus on these 2. Let's take the acid, an acid in here, 10 acid in here. Same for these 2. And then the last thing is our pseudo, which, as you can see, I just have 10. So let's quickly go and get some more from that. Meet up with Shirley. She's at the north end of the overpass, which is right here. Hello, Shirley. So let's add 30 of that. Here we go. And then head back to the bungalow. Alright, back at the bungalow, let's go in here and refill all of our chemistry stations, 2 on that side and the other 2 on that side. And now all we need to do is wait for our deliveries to arrive. Never mind, one thing I forgot is the setup of the stations themselves. So you manage the chemistry station and you set the destination to the oven that is just across from it. Do the same thing for these 2, like this. And like this. And then we need to set up the ovens, and for that we hold shift again, click on all 4 of them, then hit E, and the destination for that one is then the first mixing station. And then the mixing station that we just set, we put the threshold to 10 and then set the destination to our second mixing station. And then from here we just always point to the mixing station right next to it, just like in the first guide, nothing changed here, and then point the last one to the packaging station, and then finally point the packaging station over to that large storage rack. And now all we need to do is wait for the van with the ingredients to arrive, which is now. So let's go in here, clear this out. Unfortunately, we don't have any handlers left that can do the unpacking, so we have to do that ourselves. Oh, and one thing that is also really good to do is start filling up the correct shelves first. So banana is going to go into the first mixing station, so we should obviously put that into the first shelf. Don't do what I just did here. So bananas go in this room, and then the cuke goes into here. Or semen onto the central station, and finally mega bean into the rightmost station. This setup, if you just leave your employees do their thing, will yield around 100 units of product per day, and at a price of 200 per unit will sell for roughly $20,000 per day, which is pretty good for the bungalow. I would almost call that mid-game, because you need the first 3 money laundering facilities to keep up with all of the cash you are going to get. So that is pretty good. Yeah, let me know what you think about this setup, and if you have any ideas that you would try or any improvements you can make. I'm pretty sure this is already very optimized. Not sure if there's anything else you can do with the current version of the patch. I already have an idea what we can do with this room once we got our storage lockers, but that's something for another time. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!